Arsenal are still standing, and here is why Wednesday night could change everything. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a team you love drop points at home to a team they should have beaten and just felt your stomach drop? That sick, heavy feeling where you already know the other teams are going to take full advantage. That is exactly where Arsenal fans found themselves after the Bournemouth game. A 2-1 home defeat at the Emirates to Bournemouth. And guess what happened next? Manchester City went and beat Chelsea. Of course they did. So right now, Arsenal are sitting at the top of the Premier League table, but the ground beneath them is starting to feel a little shaky. City have a game in hand. The margin for error has basically disappeared, and the whole country is watching to see whether Mikel Arteta's side are going to hold their nerve or slowly fall apart under the weight of it all. But here is the thing. Before Arsenal can even think about the title race, they have a massive Champions League second leg to deal with. On Wednesday night, April 15th, they host Sporting CP at the Emirates with a 1-0 lead from the first leg in Lisbon. One goal is all that separates them from the quarter-final exit or a place in the last four of the biggest club competition in the world. So let us get into all of it. The pressure, the mentality, the Bournemouth pain, Gary Lineker dropping a very pointed message about scared players, what Arteta needs to say to his squad, and of course, the Chelsea connection, because Cole Palmer showed up in this title race conversation in a way nobody expected. This is a big week for Arsenal, possibly the biggest week of their season. Let us break it down properly. What happened against Bournemouth and why it stings so much. First things first, the Bournemouth defeat was not just a bad result. It was the kind of result that sends a message to everyone else in the title race. It says, we are human, we can be beaten at home, we can crack under pressure. Now, Arsenal are still top of the table. Let us be very clear about that. They have fought for that position and they deserve it. But losing to Bournemouth at home in a game where 3 points were absolutely needed was a painful moment for everyone connected with the club. Why does it sting so much? Because Manchester City were watching, and the moment Arsenal dropped those points, City went to work. They beat Chelsea, and suddenly the gap at the top got a whole lot smaller. City also have a game in hand against Crystal Palace, which means they can go level or even above Arsenal if results go a certain way. So every point matters now, every single one. The title race has gone from a comfortable lead to a do-or-die situation in the space of a week. And now Arsenal have to switch their focus to Europe, deal with a very tricky second leg, and then come back refreshed for a crucial Premier League weekend against their direct rivals. No pressure, right? Gary Lineker drops an F-bomb message, and it is actually brilliant. Let us talk about what Gary Lineker said on the Rest is Football podcast, because it is not just interesting. It is actually the most honest and useful piece of advice anyone has given during this whole title race conversation. Lineker was asked about the pressure Arsenal players must be feeling at this stage of the season, late April. Every game a final, millions of fans watching, history on the line. And instead of giving some careful, polished answer, Lineker gave a real one. He said, and this is important, that the key to handling pressure is to not run away from it, but to actually enjoy it, to revel in it. He talked about his own career playing in World Cups and FA Cup finals and title deciders, and said that he never wanted to be in the middle of the table when those moments came. He wanted to be right there in the middle of the fire fighting for something. His message was simple: do not be scared of these moments. They are what you dreamed about. They are why you worked so hard to get here. If things do not go your way, fine, but at least enjoy the ride while you are on it. Now, why does this matter for Arsenal? Because when you watch some of their performances lately, particularly in the domestic cups and in the Bournemouth game, there is a nervousness there, a tightness. Players who are normally free and confident start to look like they are carrying the weight of the whole club on their backs. Passes get a little slower, decisions get a little more cautious, and that is when mistakes happen. Lineker basically said that if he were the coach, he would be telling his players that they are flying, that they are 6 points clear at the top, that they are Arsenal players in a genuine title race, and they should go and enjoy it rather than treat it like something to survive. That is actually what great coaches do. They change the emotional environment around pressure. Instead of the title race feeling like a threat, it becomes an opportunity. Instead of the next game feeling like something to be afraid of, it becomes something to get excited about. The question is Arteta already doing this? Is he the one in the dressing room telling his players to breathe, to smile, to remember why they love football? Or is the pressure of his own ambition as a manager seeping into the group and making everyone tense? What do you think? Is Arteta the kind of manager who can change the emotional energy in a dressing room, or does he sometimes add to the pressure rather than take it away? Drop your thoughts below. Arsenal in Europe versus Arsenal in domestic football, two very different teams here, is something interesting that does not get talked about enough. When you look at Arsenal's Champions League record this season, they look like a completely different team compared to the one that lost to Bournemouth and Southampton and crashed out of the FA Cup. Seriously, look at these results in Europe this season. They beat Atletico Madrid 4-0 at home. They beat Club Brugge 3-0 away. They beat Inter Milan 3-1 away from home. They beat Bayer Leverkusen 2-0 in the second leg to go through to the quarterfinals. And just last week, they went to Lisbon and came back with a clean sheet and a 1-0 win against Sporting CP. That is a brilliant European record. That is a team that knows how to handle big occasions, slow the game down, defend well, and hurt teams on the counter-attack. So why does that same team suddenly look nervous and fragile in the Premier League? That is a genuinely fascinating question, and there are a few possible answers. One answer is that European games give Arsenal a slightly different rhythm. The stakes feel different. The atmosphere at the Emirates on European nights is something special. The crowd, the noise, the occasion, it all seems to bring the best out of the players. Another answer is that in the Premier League, everyone knows Arsenal. Every team they face has watched hours of footage, knows their patterns, knows where to press them, knows how to frustrate them. In Europe, some teams are less prepared for the specific way Arsenal play. And a third answer is that in the Champions League, Arsenal are not expected to win every game. There is no title pressure attached to each result. They can go out and express themselves a bit more freely because the weight of the league table is not sitting on top of every single pass. Whatever the reason, the good news is that Wednesday is a European night. And on European nights, Arsenal tend to show up. Wednesday night preview, Arsenal versus Sporting CP. So let us talk about the game itself. Arsenal go into this second leg with a 1-0 advantage from the first leg in Lisbon. That single goal scored in what was a tight and tense affair gives them a cushion going into Wednesday. But it is a slim one. One goal from Sporting and the tie is level. 2 goals and Arsenal are out. Sporting will come to the Emirates knowing they have to score. That means they will likely come out attacking early, trying to set the tempo and force Arsenal to play in a high-energy open game. For a Sporting side that has won 4 of their last 5 games in all competitions, including a bounce-back win over Estrela in the Portuguese league after the first leg defeat, there is plenty of confidence in their camp. But here is the thing about Sporting away from home in Europe. They are a very different team to the one that plays at their own stadium. At home in Lisbon, they can control the game, press high and dominate. On the road in the Champions League, they have shown weaknesses in transition, meaning that when they lose the ball, there is space to exploit on the counter-attack. And counter-attacking football is exactly what Arsenal are good at. The win probability for this game currently sits at 66% for Arsenal, 20% for a draw, and only about 14% for a Sporting win. The numbers back up the feeling that Arsenal should go through, but football does not always follow the numbers. What Arsenal need to do is simple. Protect their lead, do not give Sporting easy goals, and hit them on the counter when the chances come. They do not need to go out and score 3 goals. They just need to be calm, disciplined, and ruthless when it matters. If they play the way they have played in their best European performances this season, Sporting will struggle to break them down. One predicted lineup for Arsenal has Raya in goal with White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Hincapie in defence, Rice and Zubamendi in midfield, and Trossard, Havertz, Madueke and Gyökeres in the attacking areas. That is a strong side. That is a side capable of keeping Sporting quiet and winning this tie. The question is whether the players can clear their heads after the Bournemouth disappointment and focus fully on Wednesday, because mentally this is just as much of a challenge as it is physically. Do you think Arsenal will go through on Wednesday? Are you confident after their European form this season, or does the Bournemouth result worry you? Let us know in the comments. The Chelsea factor, Cole Palmer and the Premier League title race. Now let us talk about Chelsea, because they actually play a role in this whole Arsenal title story, even though they are not directly fighting for the trophy themselves. When Manchester City beat Chelsea in the same week that Arsenal lost to Bournemouth, it was a double blow for Arsenal. They dropped points and their rivals picked up points. That is the worst combination possible in a title race. But here is something worth noting about Chelsea this season. They have not been bad. They have been inconsistent. And Cole Palmer, the player many people expected to carry them, has had a season that tells a complicated story. This season in the Premier League, Palmer has played 20 games and scored 9 goals. He has also added 1 assist, taken 45 shots, and maintained a shooting accuracy of around 42%. He has averaged 1.26 key passes per game and has an overall FOPMOB rating of 7.16 for the season. He scored a hat-trick against Wolverhampton Wanderers in February, with all 3 goals coming in the first half. That was actually a historic achievement. He became the first player ever to score 3 separate first-half hat-tricks in Premier League history. His market value currently sits at around 98 million euros. He is 23 years old. He won the Golden Ball at the FIFA Club World Cup last summer, scoring twice and assisting once in a 3-0 final win over PSG. He is undeniably one of the most talented players in England right now. But this season, compared to what he produced last year, the numbers are a little lower. Last season, he had 22 goals and 11 assists across all competitions. This season, he has been strong in patches, but not at that same consistent elite level every single week. Some of that is down to Chelsea's overall inconsistency as a team. When Chelsea lost to City recently, it contributed to widening the gap in the title race and handed Arsenal's rivals a crucial 3 points. So in a weird way, Chelsea's struggles have actually been as damaging to Arsenal as Arsenal's own dropped points. The next big Chelsea game is against Manchester United on April 18th. That will be an interesting one to watch because the result could have knock-on effects for the rest of the title race. What Arteta must be telling his players right now? We talked about Lineker's message earlier, but what about the man who is actually in that dressing room every day? What should Arteta be saying to his squad at this moment? The pressure of a title race is unlike anything else in football. It builds up slowly over weeks and months, and by the time you get to April, every training session, every team meeting, every press conference is loaded with weight. Players who have been brilliant for most of the season can suddenly start to look anxious, decision-making gets slower, movement gets a little less sharp, and confidence, which is everything in football, can drain away faster than you expect. Arteta is known as a very intense manager. He cares deeply, he demands a lot, and he has incredibly high standards. That is part of why Arsenal have been so good over the last few seasons, but sometimes in title run-ins, intensity without release can become its own kind of pressure. What the best managers do in these moments is find the balance. They do not drop the standards. They do not suddenly become relaxed and casual about preparation. But they do remind their players that football is supposed to be played with joy, that the reason they work so hard is so they can be in exactly this position, fighting for the biggest prizes. Arteta should be reminding his players that they are 6 points clear, that they have earned that lead through hard work and quality football. That one bad result against Bournemouth does not change everything they have built, that Europe is a different competition and they have been brilliant in it all season. And most importantly, that the biggest games are still ahead of them and those are the games they should be excited about, not afraid of. If Lineker's message gets through to the Arsenal squad, and if Arteta is delivering something similar behind closed doors, then Arsenal have the mentality and the quality to see this through. But if the Bournemouth loss has left marks, if players are playing cautiously and worrying too much, then that is where things can unravel quickly. The bigger picture, what this season means for Arsenal, let us zoom out for a moment, because what is happening at Arsenal right now is genuinely historic in the making. Arsenal have not won the Premier League title since the Invincible season in 2004. That is over 20 years. For an entire generation of Arsenal fans, a league title has been something their parents talked about, not something they experienced themselves. Every near miss over the years, every this might be the season that turned into disappointment, has added to the weight of this moment. Arteta took over a club that was in a really difficult place. He built something slowly. He changed the culture, he brought in players who fit his system, he made Arsenal exciting to watch again, and now they are in a genuine title race with real momentum and a real chance to end that 20-year wait. If they win the title this season, it will be one of the biggest moments in Arsenal's recent history, full stop. But they also know that this is not guaranteed. City have been through this before. They know how to handle late season pressure better than almost any team in history. They will not give up without a fight. So Arsenal have to be at their very best from now until the end of the season, every game. No more slip-ups like Bournemouth. They need to protect the lead, take care of Europe and keep grinding. The spirit line Nicker described, that buzz of playing in the biggest moments, that love of pressure rather than fear of it, that is what Arsenal need to find and hold on to for the next few weeks. Final thoughts, Wednesday is bigger than just a football game. Here is how we see it. Wednesday night against Sporting is not just about getting through to the Champions League semi-finals, although that would be massive. It is about momentum. It is about confidence. It is about sending a message to the Arsenal squad and to the Premier League that this group of players has what it takes to handle pressure and keep performing. A good win on Wednesday, a calm, controlled, professional performance that gets them through to the semis would do wonders for the mentality in that dressing room heading into the weekend's league game. On the other hand, if they wobble, if Sporting score early and the Emirates gets tense and Arsenal fail to hold their lead, then the psychological damage going into the title race run-in could be significant. That is what is really at stake on Wednesday night. Not just a place in the last four, but confidence, belief, and the kind of form that title-winning teams need going into the home stretch. Arteta knows this. His players know this, and the 60,000 people who will pack the Emirates on Wednesday night know this too. So the question we leave you with is this. Do you believe in this Arsenal team? Do you think they have what it takes to win the title and go deep in the Champions League at the same time? Or do you think the pressure is finally starting to get to them? There are no wrong answers here. This is your space. This is the Olivia Sports Arsenal community, and every opinion matters. Drop your thoughts below. Share this with a fellow Arsenal fan, and make sure you are watching on Wednesday night, because it is going to be one of those nights where football reminds you exactly why you love it so much. Come on, Arsenal.